Bama's Eddie Lacy, who's widely regarded as the best running back in this year's NFL draft, is still being held back by a hamstring injury. Lacy didn't work out at the scouting combine because he suffered a small tear in his hamstring in mid-February, and now he's decided not to participate in the Crimson Tide Pro Day tomorrow because of the same injury. ESPN's Adam Schefter reports that Lacy still plans to hold private workouts for NFL teams at some point. NFL teams know what Lacy can do on the field, so his inability to work out at either the combine or his pro day probably won't do much to affect his draft status, just as long as his hamstring heals well enough that he can run at some point before next month's draft. And good evening, everybody. Don't forget Tider Insider TV coming up tonight right after the news. Well, Georgia's Kentavious Caldwell-Pope has been named the SEC Men's Basketball Player of the Year by the league's coaches. Florida's Billy Donovan is the Coach of the Year, and Kentucky's Nerlens Noel is the top freshman and defensive player despite suffering a season-ending knee injury late in the season against Florida. Now, the league released the awards and its all-SEC teams earlier today. Caldwell-Pope is the SEC's #2 scorer with 18 points a game. Alabama junior guard Trevor Relaford, who is averaging 15.6 points per game, was one of 8 players named to the coach's all-SEC first team. Relaford also made the SEC's all-defensive team and, of course, hit the game-winning shot from half court on Saturday against Georgia. Speaking of Alabama basketball, this season marked 100 years of Crimson Tide basketball, and there was a reception on Friday night in the front lobby of Coleman Coliseum for the former players, coaches, and staff members. In fact, the athletics department said that more than 100 former players and coaches were at the capstone and were also honored during the Tide's game against Georgia on Saturday afternoon. Now, we asked several of them on Friday night to give us their opinion on where the program is at right now under head coach Anthony Grant.
I think it's in good hands. Of course, we always want to win more, and they could use a little scoring, you know. But I think they'll be okay if they can get some, more scores around, and the defense is there for sure.
I think we're coming back. I think with the coach Grant showing up, like I said, some of the in-state talent, and that's what we got to do to grow our program, and then go outside and bring in some guys from outside. But I see the excitement coming back. I see the enthusiasm. I'm hearing it, from people that I talk to, that they're getting enthused about our program again.
And let's stay with Alabama basketball. Junior center Moussa Gay's journey to Tuscaloosa has been an interesting one. But after landing at the U of A last season, Moussa has provided a big lift to the Bama basketball team and has become a fan favorite in the process. WVUA Sports correspondent Scott Braswell has the story.
Moussa Gay's story begins in Dakar, Senegal, with a population over 1 million. Gay had a different perspective on life than players in America.
I got raised half of my life by my mom, half of my life I raised myself, so.
The 7-footer was a great addition to the Alabama squad, as he not only brought size to the extremely small team, but a healthy body to the injured club.
He likes to play, he likes the defense. He's not a showy offensive player. I like how he's more worried about how many blocks he has than the points he has. I respect that.
Gay started playing basketball as a teenager in Senegal, and after honing his skills, he decided to enroll at Lakeland College in Illinois.
I went to junior college. Before I go to junior college, I was in a basketball academy back in my home country.
While at Lakeland, he would receive offers from schools all over the country. When he visited Tuscaloosa, he knew he had found a new home.
After a couple of games, I heard they called him Moose, and so I was like, yeah, we can work with that.
Finally, Healthy Gay has taken advantage of the playing time and has more blocks this season than shot attempts.
And the Crimson Tide hopes Moussa can keep up his production as they head into the SEC tournament and possibly their second straight NCAA tournament appearance. Reporting from Tuscaloosa, I'm Scott Braswell, WVUA Sports.
Thank you, Scott. Well, last week was a tough one for the Crimson Tide baseball team, an 0-4 week that included a loss to Auburn in the Max Capital City Classic in Montgomery last Tuesday night. And then they were swept by number 5 Louisville on the road over the weekend. Bama, which is now just 8-7 on the season, trying to turn things around, beginning tonight at home against Memphis with the first pitch just underway about 15 minutes ago. That game will be the first of a 5-game homestand for Alabama. We will have it for you in its entirety tonight, tape delayed at 10:35. Alabama will host the Tigers again tomorrow night. And following the 2-game set against Memphis, Alabama will open SEC play at home against Tennessee this weekend. That's a look at sports. I'll see you on Tider Insider in just a couple of minutes. We're back after this.